1. Mr. and Mrs. Yates had one daughter. Her name was Carol, and she was 19 years old. Carol lived with her parents and worked in an office. She had some friends, but she did not like any of the boys very much. Then she met a very nice young man. His name was George Watts, and he worked in a bank near her office. They went out together quite a lot, and he came to Carol's parents' house twice, and then last week Carol went to her father and said, "I am going to marry George Watts, Daddy." "He was here yesterday." "Oh, yes," her father said. "He's a nice boy, but has he got any money?" "Oh, men. All of you are same," the daughter answered angrily. "I met Georgie on the 1st of June, and on the 2nd he said to me, 'Has your father got any money?'" Two old gentlemen lived in a quiet street in Paris. They were Irians and neighbors, and they often went for walks together in the streets when the weather was fine. Last Saturday they went for a walk at the side of the river. The sun shone, the weather was warm, there were a lot of flowers everywhere, and there were boats on the water. The two men walked happily for half an hour, and then one of them said to the other, "That's a very beautiful girl." "Where can you see a beautiful girl?" said the other. "I can't see one anywhere." "I can see two young men. They're walking towards us." "The girl's walking behind us," said the first quietly. "But how can you see her then?" asked his Irian. The first man smiled and said, "I can't see her, but I can see the young men's eyes."
3. Fred was a young soldier in a big camp. During the week they always worked very hard. But it was Saturday, and all the young soldiers were free, so their officer said to them, "You can go into the town this afternoon, but first I'm going to inspect you." But Fred came to the officer, and the officer said to him, "Your hair's very long. Go to the barber and come back to me again." Fred ran to the barber's shop, but it was closed because it was Saturday. Fred was very sad for a few minutes, but then he smiled and went back to the officer. "Are my boots clean now, sir?" he asked. The officer did not look at Fred's hair. He looked at his boots and said, "Yes, they're very much better now. You can go out. And next week, first clean your boots, and then come to meet it." 4. Peter was 8.5 years old, and he went to a school near his house. He always went there and came home on foot, and he usually go back on time, but last Friday he came home from school late. His mother was in the kitchen, and she saw him and said to him, "Why are you late today, Peter?" "My teacher was angry and sent me to the headmaster after our lessons," Peter answered. "To the headmaster?" His mother said. "Why did she send you to him?" Because she asked a question in the class," Peter said, "and none of the children gave her the answer except me." His mother was angry. "But why did the teacher send you to the headmaster then? Why didn't she send all the other stupid children?" she asked Peter. "Because her question was, 'Who put glue on my chair?'" Peter said.
5. Mr. Edwards likes singing very much, but he is very bad at it. He went to dinner at a friend's house last week, and there were some other guests there too. They had a good dinner, and then the hostess went to Mr. Edwards and said, "You can sing, Peter, please sing us something." Mr. Edwards was very happy, and he began to sing an old song about the mountains of Spain. The guests listened to it for a few minutes, and then one of the guests began to cry. She was a small woman and had dark hair and very dark eyes. One of the other guests went to her, put his hand on her back and said, "Please don't cry." "Are you Spanish?" another young man asked. "Do you love Spain?" "No," she answered, "Tm not Spanish and PVE never been to Spain. I'm a singer and I love music."